We are going to talk today about techniques used to provide some relief for salmon populations that live within forestry impacted streams. The example of such a stream I will be using is the Chilliwack-Vedder River watershed, and what actions to improve salmon habitats has been tried to support salmon recovery. So why salmon? In the Fraser River watershed alone, there are 42 native species of fish. We honor salmon partly because they have been there throughout history to feed us, our families and communities through good times and bad. We should strive to return to past salmon abundances as soon as practical for them, for us, and for the ecosystems that rely on them. Salmon have a short-term problem if they are to persist and be abundant into the next generation. Watersheds have a long-term problem as they go through their decadal and centuries-long healing journey to a pre-disturbance state. For a brief period during the BC Forest Renewal Program, 1994 through 2004, the Salmonid Enhancement Program was asked to develop salmon recovery options in forestry impacted watersheds. This is a story of what was done and learned and choices made in one such forestry impacted watershed, the Chilliwack-Vedder River. The Chilliwack River is a typical lower Fraser tributary watercourse. Starts high in the coast mountains, then flows out onto the broad Fraser River floodplain. What makes it unique is the upper watershed is an undisturbed salmon stream that can provide lessons for how an undisturbed salmon stream functions. This undisturbed section of the river deals with moderate levels of sediment delivery from snowslide debris tracks and high gradient mountain tributaries. However, the river soon returns to a single channel state after these headwater inputs. An unstable channel is constrained by its large diameter old growth conifer riparian areas. Large channel spanning log jams are created over decades and centuries. Due to the size of the key logs in the jam, they are semi-permanent and can grow in size enough to force the river from its path. This creates a modest number of side channel and off-channel habitats that can persist over long time scales. The lower Chilliwack River forests are not those of the past, and the effects on salmon habitats in the watershed has been far-reaching. We should strive to understand the science and know our home rivers deeply before trying to change their behavior and actions that affect salmon. For many of us, just being by rivers, particularly during salmon spawning season, is something to be cherished. On some days, it might just be best to leave them alone for a while. Now the question is how long? The BC Forest Renewal Watershed Restoration Program from 1994 to 2004. This program worked to improve water quality and fish habitats that were impacted by past forest harvesting practices. Forest upslope instability and sediment delivery to the stream channel was the focus of BC Ministry of Forests work. SEP works were focused on creating persistent salmon refugia on floodplain areas as far as practical from destabilized river channels. These salmon refugia sites were located in abandoned channel features along the floodplain margins and were used by all the species of salmon found in the river. These created refugia areas likely lost their river connections as large channel-spanning log jams broke apart over the previous decades after primary forest removal began in this section of the watershed in the early 1920s. One such log jam, just downstream from Chilliwack Lake and known as the 4 Mile Jam, was bank to bank and 300 meters long. It survived until the late 1970s, when local authorities tore it apart to supposedly let the salmon swim free. Because all these salmon refugia projects were seen as experiments, a significant amount of effort was made to assess their impact on salmon. On the largest hatchery coho program river in BC, this fall, some anglers were complaining of too many wild coho salmon. So whatever we're doing related to coho salmon habitat management in this watershed, my hope is future managers will keep on trying to keep wild coho happy and abundant in the future years. If you can't go back to the past, then keeping salmon safe in secure places while the past heals itself might not be perfect, but gives them a chance to swim another day. In the beginning of this presentation, I indicated the Salmonid Enhancement Program attempted to work the hardest on the most impacted streams. It was felt that hydro streams have been the most impacted by development in our area. So here are brief summaries of what was accomplished in 2 hydro watersheds here in the lower mainland of British Columbia. The Coquitlam and Stave rivers are a testament of what can happen if all parties work together on a common goal of salmon recovery. Remember the first slide of the show? Springboard notch? I guess they all went for coffee and never returned. A life lesson. Sometimes you just get lucky, so hope for the best.